All right guys, you guessed it, V8 engine. Today's video, all about how to make your intercooler charge air temperatures more efficient for your engine. How have we done that? Intercooler, easy DIY kit you can fit at home. And today's video, it's all about the 70 series. So let's head straight over to the bench and show you what your factory intercooler looks like and what you need to do to prepare it to fit the fan kit today. So let's open the box, show you what's in the kit. Color picture instructions, make sure you've got all the contents to do the job. Read the instructions before you start the job and you don't have to stop halfway through so you can finish the install and job done in an efficient manner. Sorry 4 cylinders, it's V8 only. If you follow us, you'll know I've got a cross-country intercooler upgrade on my 70 series. However, we're going to head over to the bench and show you what a factory intercooler looks like and what you need to do to fit these fan kits to your intercooler today. All right, intercooler, where is it? Boom, there it is, factory intercooler. Let's show you what you need to do. So this fan kit fits the factory intercooler as well as the PWR intercooler upgrade. And for those of you who've got the latest model, the last of the V8s with the facelift, with no bonnet scoop, we've got an option coming for you very soon. So stay tuned and subscribe and you'll see that when it comes out. But let's get on with the install. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is remove the factory trim off the top of the intercooler. Just gonna remove these 4 bolts, 2 on each side. This trim's going to come off and we're not going to need that. That can go straight over your shoulder because we don't need to refit it. This guy. Okay, so in this step, we're going to locate the controller bracket, which is this guy right here. And in the kit, we have 4 shims. We're just going to put them aside. We don't need them just yet. We've got the fitting kit. We require 2 M4 nylocks. These guys right here. Mount the unit of this bracket to our factory shroud, which I'll get to. Now, when it's in the vehicle, I'll show the orientation and how it's going to sit. Okay, so just to recap, what we've done in this step, we've mounted the controller to the mounting bracket, and you'll see here, it's got the bend angle, 2 holes, like I mentioned earlier, M4 bolts, nylock. Now the digital controller and the button is at the bottom, the furthest away from the bend. And also you'll notice the temperature probe. I haven't done a final tighten up on it. I've tightened this one here. Now this one, you'll notice there is a little bit of heat shrink on the probe, and that's to grip the probe. So now we've got everything, we're happy. We can just come and tighten that up and we are happy with it, and it will be ready to install on the vehicle. Now, it is a plastic housing. I don't recommend using impact tools or zap guns. Hand tools is more than enough torque. You just need to hold it on there. It's nylock, it's not going anywhere. It's ready to fit. Internal note, instructions, we could do a little update, is the mounting location, the digital display on page 7, picture 11, clearly shows the digital display at the bottom, whereas on page 2 here, it wasn't super clear to me. So if we can add another picture, awesome upgrade. What we're going to do is mount the controller so that the digital display is easy to read. And the probe is going to get mounted behind. Like I mentioned in the other video, we don't push the probe through the core of the intercooler. We don't want to damage anything. We mount it behind and we use the ambient temperature, which is very close to it. And obviously as the temperature drops down with the airflow under it as well, this changes and you've got your set points for your driving conditions where you're operating the vehicle. So it has the ability to be adjusted. So now we're going to mount the control module to the bracket to hold the controller. Now a note I want to make special mention of, the 2 holes, the mounting holes to the dress trim on top of the fan kit, go to the top. The digital controller and the control buttons sit at the bottom, and the harness goes along here. Then underneath, the probe is going to get mounted here. Okay, so this is the dress cover for the intercooler fan kit. Now you'll notice that we've got multiple holes along here. This is the driver's side of the dress cover. You'll notice we've got the PDP, that sits at the front on the intercooler, and the firewall is here. Now, when you've got the controller mounted up, end result, there's 2 locations. And on a 70 series, it's going to use the 2 front holes. And on other kits for the 200 series, it uses the rear, but today it's all about the 70 series, and end result, it's going to mount up here, nice and easy, so we can finish the install. Okay, just using a 10mm combo spanner, deep socket quarter drive, get the nylock started. Now it is much easier to mount the fan controller to the top shroud before you go and mount it to the intercooler, because the intercooler runs along here and it'll be a fiddly job to try and do later. And end result, fan controller is mounted. So now that is all sitting there, and I just want to show you the orientation of it. But before we bolt it up, this piece of foam here, it is going to get stuck just down here on the fan shroud. As per the instructions, shows the location. So we're just going to snip this guy into two pieces, front and back. And what that stops is the top cover from any little vibrations when you're going off-road with your vehicle. I have wiped these down with a little bit of alcohol or brake cleaner, just obviously if you've got greasy hands from removing anything on the vehicle. Now it's time to get the shims that we talked about when we opened the kit up and mount it up to the intercooler with the fans first. All right, here we are, the fans. We're ready to put them on the intercooler. Spin them around this way. Just rest them down nice and gently. Now the connector plugs, the Deutsch plugs, go to the rear of the intercooler. And obviously your view there, you're at the front of the vehicle. Now I just want to say as well, you'll see we've got the foam on the underside, so there's no damage that's going to happen to the intercooler core. Sit it down, align it up with the holes at the end, and this is where we get the shims that we mentioned earlier when we unboxed. These guys here, as per the instructions, the green picture, that's the intercooler. You've got one shim, the intercooler fan assembly, then you've got another shim, and then you've got the top shroud that goes on top. So, following the instructions, literally one goes in there, other one on the other side, just like so. Straight on top again, just like that. Trick with this one, once again, the PDP emblem, that's at the front of the intercooler. I've said it before, the fan controller goes on the driver's side, that's for the Australian built vehicles. Just lift up the Deutsch plugs, they go through there, gently lay down the dress trim, and you'll see I've mounted the foam under here as well. Now a little tip, you can use the Allen key that you're going to do the bolts up, the hardware up with, and just lightly put it in here and align your holes so you can now get the Allen key, countersunk Allen key head with a little washer as well. 4 of them, we're just going to pop them in gently. I'm not going to start them just yet, I'm just going to put them all 4. And this one here. And just start them with thumb and forefinger, just lightly. Remember, it is an aluminium thread in the intercooler. Don't go sending it home with a impact gun of some sort. Also, the intercooler fans can move slightly left to right, so if you need to move them on the core itself, do so just so that you're not going to damage any threads before you start it and get everything lined up. And also, when we've designed this as well, in the scanning, we've catered for discrepancies in intercoolers. They are a bulk manufactured intercooler, so there is some tolerances, and that's why we've got slots in the holes. Now you'll see as well, thumb and forefinger with the Allen key. Once again, still not use any tools that have got a lot of leverage. Just like that, the fans are all mounted to the intercooler, all the controllers all fitted off as well. 2 wiring looms here, but first things first, just going to run the intercooler loom. It's going to come across the back of the firewall. Going to plug in 2 Deutsch plugs, nice and easy. Plug straight in there. There is this guy here. I'll run you through the engine bay and where that goes. That goes to the power pickup for the ignition input. And this guy here, the power harness. We've got a positive and a negative, and they're just going to fit off to the main battery, going through and over to the passenger side of the vehicle to the main battery. Okay, so in the fitting kit, this stuff here, the fuse tap and the 2 fuses, is utilised in our VDJ, the 200 series installation. For the 70 series, all you need is this blue eyelet. We're going to crimp that onto the end of our gas cable or twin insulated 3mm for our ignition pickup. That'll go over to the factory fuse box, and also you'll need to trim this cable a bit shorter as we've made it longer for the 200 series where it needs to go to the other side of the vehicle. So on your 70, you're going to come off the harness here, and then you're just going to navigate it around, tie it off nice and neatly through the engine bay, and we are going to locate, as per the factory instructions, this fuse box right here, and it's next to our fuel kit, or where we mount our fuel kit and diff breathers. I'll show you it under bonnet on my vehicle, and we're going to tap into this guy here, and under the Phillips screw, we're going to locate, screw this off, and we're going to get our ignition pickup that's going to activate the controller when it comes on board when the ignition is turned on, and it's as easy as that. Okay, so this green cable here that we've capped off with heat shrink, so it's all watertight and IP rated. This is a manual override, so if you wanted to fit a switch in the cab or somewhere else and manually turn the fans on without the controller, you can do. We don't use that. The controller does a great job of that, so I would recommend just leaving it just as it is unless you need a reason to use it. Okay, so just to clarify, under bonnet of your 70 series and the accessory fuse box, where is it located? Well, I'm just on the driver's side of the vehicle, got the factory airbox here. I mentioned the fuel kit and the breathers. Just behind that, and it's mounted near the guard and in front of the master cylinder, got this little fuse box. It literally pulls off like so. One Phillips head screw here, undo it just like that. Once you've undone that screw, the lid comes off. These fuse boxes have been used for many years. I remember one of my first 80 series Land Cruiser, and they haven't changed one bit. Okay, so unscrewed the lid, that's come off. Now to feed the cable in the bottom of it, you can literally just unclip the clips here, and you have access. And as you'll see, I've already got a power and earth coming through here. That's my pickup for the PDP gauges that I've got in the vehicle. You can feed through your single core gas cable, and we're going to unscrew this guy right here. And like I mentioned, it's already got a fuse in there, and that is our ignition pickup. And it's as simple as that. And you're just going to route the cable along up here, and you'll see we've got our fuel kit, and it's just going to jump back onto the back of the intercooler, and away you go. That's your ignition pickup, done, dusted, and put the cover back on, put in place, do the screw up, and you are done. Okay, so we're over on the passenger side of the vehicle. As you can see, we've got our PDP dual battery kit here. Now there's plenty of length in the loom that you can navigate around that, so you can get a nice electrical fit off. If you need to mount it and do something different with it, considering you may have a different layout, you'll need to customise that to suit your vehicle build. Now it's pretty straightforward. You got the black end of the cable is your earth. You're going to fit that off to the earth on the main battery, and the red to the positive. Also check the fuse is in there. We've pre-fitted it with dielectric grease, but also check it's in there. There is two fuses individually in the harness, and that is over on near the fan controller. They are fusing the fans individually. Now also, I may mention, we do have an auxiliary pickup that you can override the fans from the controller. That's in the loom as well. And just like that, all the wiring's done. Now it's time to verify the fan, the direction, and program it. Disclaimer, I'm going to show you that on the 200 because the fans are on my vehicle. Okay, so setting the controller and how to set it up. Now, if you hold the button down, or press it once, it comes up to what you have them set at. Now, and press it again, it'll keep going 1 degree at a time. If you push and hold it, it'll scale from whatever you had it set at all the way up to 110 degrees Celsius, and then restart back at 40. Me personally, what I set these fans at is 40. The reason is I like my intercooler to be no heat soak temperature under the bonnet, so I have it on at 40, and anything under 40, the fans are off. So that means when it's cold in the morning, fans aren't running. If it's cool enough under bonnet temperatures and ambience, and the airflow through the front of the car, the fans aren't running. Now let's program it and show you how to set it up. It's pretty easy, it's really simple. Once you've set it once, it's done, it holds its memory, and away you go. So how do I monitor those temperatures? I've got a scan gauge 2 in my vehicle. Now all of our scan gauges out of the box in the 2s are set up with this function here, CAT. That is charge air temperature. The sensor in the back of the intercooler, as you'll see here, I've got 29 degrees. Now the CIA is the intake temperature at the MAF sensor at the airbox. You'll see that's at 35 degrees. and EGT is the exhaust gas temperatures, and CWT is the coolant temperatures of the engine. Now, as the ambient temperatures come up, the airflow is going to sense a higher ambient temperature. The turbos are going to work harder, the charge air is going to get hotter. Now, having the fans on there, I can get the intercooler at a more efficient state, and I can monitor my charge air temperatures. And it's even easier if you've got a scan gauge 3. I'm running the 2. The 3 is an awesome bit of gear. You can even record it, set all your min-maxes, and have alarms. So if you haven't got one, that's how I recommend you monitor your charge air temperatures. So as you can see, the temperatures come up on the controller. Last step is to check the flow of the air. We want it to come in the front of the car, through the ductwork, through the vent. Now put this on top of the fan and notice how it's sucking it down. Same thing this side. Now we know the fan, the airflow is pushing it through. Now you might have noticed as well, you'll see a little bit of movement on the fans. You'll see them bouncing up and down a little bit like that. You'll see this seal here, and we've got it perfect. You just touch here with one finger. See how they're bouncing? That seal there, as you can see, these are fitted to my vehicle, and the seal is perfectly sealing to get all the airflow through the intercooler. When it's sitting there and finished off, it's perfect. And as you can see, that just cooled down the intercooler from 40 degrees. I'm not sure what it's sitting at now, but it must be under 40 because it's already cooled it off, and they've turned off, so they're not wasting precious battery voltage and making the alternator work harder. So all your other accessories, your lithium, all your chargers, whatever you're doing with your vehicle, you're getting the charge to where it's needed, not drawing 13 amps to run 2 fans constantly only on ignition. Just like that, I've shown you how to program the controller, how to monitor all the temperatures in your 70 series, so you're ready for your next adventure. Till then, I'll see you on the tracks.